Hello, I'm Shane Romig, a communications officer with the World Bank. And we have the pleasure here to be with Michael Sabia, the CEO of CDPQ, Canada, a large pension fund from Canada.
Correct.
And here we have the pleasure to talk about scaling up development for and mobilizing private capital to support development. So I wonder if you could tell us a little bit about this event, this Investors Forum, and how you see that facilitating scaling up.
Well, honestly, I think the fact that this event is occurring is itself very important and is real progress. Just putting in one room investors, banks, investment banks, governments, the multilateral development banks, that whole group of people, that in and of itself is an important step forward. Why do I say that? Because it creates an opportunity to break down silos that have separated the various parts of this puzzle about how to free up more private sector investment in infrastructure, in sustainable development more broadly. That just in and of itself, I think, is an important step forward, and I think, frankly, the World Bank deserves congratulations for the initiative of bringing that group together, and hopefully this won't be the last time. Hopefully this is something that can be repeated a number of times, because it will need to continue to build bridges, as I say, to break down the silos, to improve communication, for everyone to understand what the other person needs in order to bring those investment dollars to work behind these issues that are so important in the world today.
Great. And what are some specific areas? Where do you see potential for the public sector and the private sector to come together for these goals?
I think that there are two that really stand out in my mind. The first is infrastructure. The world needs economic growth. It needs economic growth that is durable, that is sustainable, and that is inclusive. And infrastructure is a great way to do that. It might be one of the best ways of creating the kind of growth that we need. And there are trillions, literally trillions of dollars held by private investors, institutional investors like us, pension funds, et cetera, who are looking for these kinds of assets. The challenge is you've got this important social and economic need for infrastructure across the world, and you've got these big pools of capital. And the question is, how do you get them to connect? And I think this meeting is an important step in doing that. I think there are lots of opportunities to accomplish that, and to really be able to leverage the size of the financial assets that are available and that are seeking infrastructure investments. That's the first one. The second one, every bit as important for sure, because it's existential for the planet, and that's climate change. I think from an investor point of view, we need to turn the telescope around. I think too many investors in the world today continue to think about climate change and addressing climate change as a constraint on what they can do, as something that will cause them to have to forego the returns that they need to meet their return objectives and to manage well the retirement savings of people. That's not true. We believe that that's not true. We're a large investor in wind power, we're a large investor in solar energy, we're a large investor in urban transit, and in all those projects we're making very substantial, very commercial returns. So we don't think that there is a trade-off. And the investment community has work to do on that point to better understand the size of the opportunities that are available as new technologies develop to address this really critical issue of climate change. And as that frame of mind changes, and it is changing, as the mindset changes, then I think that's going to open up whole new areas of cooperation between investors like us, governments and institutions, all of whom collectively need to be focused on addressing this very important issue of climate change.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much for sharing your insight with us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.